I was on autopilot mode on a late evening, tired as hell. My apple of a brain was looking for my dog outside. I saw a black figure and reckoned that was my dog. Then, I remember that my dog's asleep in the house. Oh my God. Good day, folks. This is We Ask Reddit, bringing you crazy answers to very interesting questions. Curious to see how other people answer these questions? Then why don't you subscribe to the channel? We all have those moments. Moments where you go angry, moments where you feel like working, and moments where you just feel like eating toast with butter. Well, what about moments where your brain goes autopilot? Well, we're gonna check it out, so buckle up, cause Reddit is asking, people of Reddit, what's the most bizarre or weird thing you did while your brain was on autopilot? Well then, let's get to the answers. Left my office, walked a mile to the train station, stood around and waited for my train. Got on the train, spent an hour sitting on the train, reading, daydreaming and whatever. Got off the train, looked around the parking lot at the station, and suddenly remembered that I drove to work that day. It would be dumber to go all the way back just to pick it up unless it's at risk being towed. Picked up the cat, put him outside, closed the door, and went back to cooking dinner. My cat is not an outdoor cat. Worst case scenario would be that meow meow becomes dinner. One day, I drove an extra half hour from work to my parents' house. Got as far as the front door and realized where I was. Since I was there, I hung out with my mom for about an hour and then drove home. It was so strange. Another time, I drove up to a stoplight after doing 3 16-hour shifts in a row, and it was about 2 in the morning when I left work, so the roads were completely empty. I stopped, looked both ways, and then turned left while the light was still red. I got pulled over and explained to the cop that I thought it was a stop sign instead of a stoplight. He laughed about that and let me off with a warning. This reminds me of a guy waiting for the stop sign to change to green. What about you folks? Ever had a brain fart moment like this? Comment your answer down below, and I'll make sure to reply. Put my daughter's bottle in the trash and her dirty diaper in the refrigerator. Found the diaper the next morning. Must have been one hell of a smell. Twisted my wrist around to look at my watch whilst holding a drink. I've done this more than once. Took the dog for a wander to the shops, tied her up outside, went in and bought my stuff, walked out and straight home. Got to the front door before I realized I forgot the dog. I consider my husband to be a very intelligent man. He reached in to the oven and pulled out the red-hot tray using tin foil to protect his hand. Using tin foil to protect from heat? It's like having a strainer for an umbrella. Confusing a garbage can for a toilet. What a shitty day to be trash. If I don't know where my keys are, they're usually in the fridge. Damn it, Carl, this doesn't make your car any cooler. Was walking out of a Tesco, pushing a trolley. Walked past the trolley return point and kept walking towards home. A few minutes later, I'm halfway home and still pushing the trolley. I realized what I was doing, walked back, returned it, and walked home again. What were the guards doing? Vigorously picking my nose while holding a cigarette and driving. Crammed lit cigarette up my nose. That's hardcore. I was getting ready for work and had a contact in one hand and a vitamin in the other. Popped the contact in my mouth and washed it down with a glass of water. I'm sure the stomach acid took care of it. Wait, did you shove the vitamin in your eye then? Painting a picture. Take a drink from the paintbrush water instead of my coffee. Did it have a colorful taste? Last night, I picked up a box of cereal. To put it away, I ended up accidentally taking it with me to bed. r slash Kellogg's Gone Wild type of shit right here. Was jogging late at night. A guy reached out his hand in front of me as I passed. I high-fived him. Turns out, he was hailing a taxi. Hey, at least you never left a bro hanging. When I was in high school and living on the family farm, I used to feed the horses and barn cats every morning. Waking up at 6 a.m. for this, as a 16-year-old, guaranteed that I was half asleep. So I grabbed the cat food, like I always did, walked to the table where my cat's bowl was, and poured some in. My cat always jumped up on the table to start eating right away. And one morning, as something jumped up in front of me, I absentmindedly pet it as usual. The hair felt a little rough, so I looked down, and instead of my friendly orange cat, there was a skunk, just chilling there, eating the cat food while I pet its back. Did you still continue petting it? As a teenager, I worked at McDonald's. My McDonald's was 24 hours, and during the summer, I worked the overnight shift. My sleep schedule would get all messed up. My parents woke me up for dinner one evening. I zombie walked to the table and sat down. My dad asked me to say grace. I bow my head and say, "Thank you for choosing McDonald's. May I take your order?" Then God replies out of nowhere asking for some chicken nuggets. Turned around and went back home because I forgot my car keys. I was driving. That's cool. At least you got home as fast. I was half asleep and lost my shit when I saw my hands and thought it was something else. Weed is one hell of a drug. I showered with clothes on. To make matters worse, I wore the fresh one over the wet clothes. Cool, you took a bath while doing laundry at the same time. Tried to turn the sun off. Bad hangover. Opened my back door, feeling for the light switch. No light switch. The light was day. I mean, if there was a light switch for the sun, I'd turn it off. Once I was laying in bed, very tired, watching TV. All the characters of the show piled into a car together, and I thought, for a reason, I forgot to put my seatbelt on, before realizing I was safely in bed and nowhere near a car. Hey, at least you were concerned about safety. In all seriousness, this is why everyone with a baby should get some kind of alarm to prevent them from leaving the baby in the car. All it takes is one sleepy day. Good thing you weren't baking that day. Jumped out of bed frantically, put my clothes on, brushed all the on the floor, under my bed, paused, and realized it's 3 a.m. in the morning and I don't have school. I'm 23. Pavlovian school really took a toll on you, huh? Put cat food in the coffee maker. 10 over 10. Would not recommend. Wait, then what did you feed your cat with? I picked up my toothbrush to brush my teeth, but I also had the urge to piss, so I obviously tossed the toothbrush into the toilet. Of course you should. Take your toothbrush back. Tapped a picture in the newspaper, hoping to see the full article. Took me a good 5 seconds to realize where I messed up. This is the fear of the new era, where people are so reliant on technology. They might accidentally ask a book to play Despacito. I just threw a knife in the garbage and washed some breadcrumbs, so I thought I'd ask. I mean, who would want dirty crumbs? Night before last, I went to the backyard to bring the dog into the house. Autopilot moved my feet 10 or so steps out of the door, telling the dog to come in. My brain then caught up and remembered the dog was in bed and I was indeed approaching a black bear that was eating watermelon rinds from the trash can. Doesn't matter. Did you still pet the good boy? Ran to Topshop to get a pair of shoes for an event with an hour to go. Needed somewhere to put my card when trying my shoes on. Threw it into one of the 324 display shoes. Used a different card to buy the shoes. Jumped into a cab for the event. Realized after 15 minutes I didn't have my card. Made the cab turn around. Sprinted to the store, found my card. Realized that in my rush, I left my phone in the cab. Tried to get my phone back by getting coins for a payment, but when I was looking in my bag, I dropped my student ID card. There's more, but yeah, you get the point. There was more? How more wrong can you get? Did you suddenly realize you weren't in your own body, but instead, due to going through Autopilot, you bumped into someone and somehow swapped bodies? I need to know. Years ago, I assisted a cesarean section for the first time. Usually, Doc and I joked around and talked during operations, but this was different. When we incised, Doc said, "Incising uterus, ready to extract." I replied, "Ready, Doc." The last thing I remember is after he cut it open and had me pull the baby from inside was the face coming out first. The next thing I remember was I was inside the doctor's lounge. Fortunately, I didn't faint. No. Doc said I continued to assist him but was silent, only saying yes or no, counting with no follow-up or copy. I was following orders, but the movement seemed robotic, as they said. Same as what the nurses told me. I have done vaginal deliveries, but never a CS. I am still shaken about the image of a human face coming out of a belly. Well, it's fucking swell that you didn't crash the whole operation. This happened during my college days. I moved to a new flat nearer to my school, since riding 2 trains and a bus just wasn't doing it for me. So after classes, I was so tired that my body just brought me to the bus stop, which dropped me off the train station, rode a train that's connected to another station, wherein I just walked home. I woke up the next day, confused as to why I was in my old bedroom. Luckily, it happened on a Friday. Yeah, lucky indeed. I can imagine this happened often. That's why coffee is everyone's best friend, to stop moments like this from ever happening. My cousin used to live in a very small town. He and a majority of the town all worked for the same company. Every morning, he would get into his car and just start following the other car in front of him to work. But one day, someone who didn't work at the company got into the line of cars. Everybody behind her, including my cousin, just started to follow this person. It wasn't until they were pulled into her driveway that they all snapped out of it. Congo line of zombies. I wonder how confused the lady was when she saw all these cars follow her to her house. While working retail, I had several customers in a row that all used gift cards, and after a gift card was empty, we were supposed to throw it out. So I was on Autopilot and I swiped someone's credit card, cut it in half, and threw it away, all while the customer just looked at me, super confused. Luckily, they were very understanding of repetitive work and didn't get upset. The look on her face when that happened though. What was with the late reaction? Did she also think it was normal? My friend Mark and I were going to a party and he decided to drive there and leave his car. He just wanted to pick up a bottle of vodka from his house first, so we pulled up outside and he runs inside while I wait in the car. He was in there for a while, but I figured he was just chatting with his family or using the bathroom. I didn't want to interrupt. After 20 minutes, his dad comes home from walking the dog and saw me sitting there, so his dad told Mark. Turns out, he'd forgotten all about the vodka once he walked in. He went in, made a sandwich, and was ready to go to bed. We all have our mark moments, like forgetting why we walked in the kitchen and it was for an insulin shot for your diabetic friend. You know what I'm talking about, right? While I was at a party, my friend handed me her phone while I was holding a cup of beer, and for some reason, I just stared right at her and dipped the phone into the beer. I don't even know why. It wasn't like I was dipping things repetitively all night, but yep, did that. Maybe you were craving for some donut and coffee? That's all for today, folks. We here at AskReddit work really hard to make a video every day. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this and hit the bell icon to get notifications of our posts. See you on the next one.